Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we are about to do some pop culture chats. Listen, again, I'm back, and I wanted to go over some stories that have been running the headlines. Let's get into this. This is a story that's coming out of Ohio, Hamden, Ohio. There were 16 children rescued. They were found living in absolute squalor in a home. Their parents plus the grandparents have been arrested. So let's go over this story. Now, what you see on the screen is the NBC News headline, but I'm going to be reading from my phone. This is from PBS News. The title of the article is 16 Children Rescued from Ohio Home Looked Almost Feral, authority says. It doesn't have an author, but this article was written on July 1st, 2026. So here's the story. The police were executing a search warrant for an unrelated charge of this. They go into the home and they execute a search warrant on the home. They go into the home, and first of all, they said that the odor in that home was just unreal. They go into the home and they go into a room where a 12 by 12 room box, just one room, and there are 16 kids that are confined to this room. They range from ages, let me see, I know they go up to 17 and 18. There were 16 kids. They're not telling me real quickly about 1.5 to 18 years old. Some of those children were developmentally delayed. Some of those children were in such absolute squalor that their health was on the line. They had to take all of those kids, remove those kids, take them to the hospital, get them all checked out. The children were in the temporary custody of the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. One was in critical condition. Let me read it. The children ranged in age from 1.5 years to 18 years old and included both boys and girls, officials said. 7 were transported to hospitals in Columbus and 2 were flown by helicopter. One was in critical condition on Tuesday, while some of the others were admitted for care. So these kids were down bad. Some people who have witnessed the kids being transferred said they almost looked like feral animals. It was terrible. The 4 people, Gary Siders Jr., Gary Siders Sr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders, they appeared in court on Wednesday where a judge they entered not guilty pleas, and they were all set with bonds for $300,000 apiece. According to neighbors, they said that they didn't even see any kids. They didn't even know any kids existed there. They did not see any children, which is interesting to me. So these kids were subjected to just abject filth and neglect. I was trying to see if we could get a, here we go. I wanted to get an article in the news report so we could see these people. So let me share my screen real quick. I'm going to remove myself from the thing because I don't know why I glitch. So let's go over this this news article. This is from WLWT5, and we're going to here we go, we got it.
More about a disturbing case of child abuse out of Vinton County. It's a case that law enforcement is calling, quote, pure evil. 4 members of this family are charged, and they're the children's parents and grandparents. In court, Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders all plead not guilty to 17 counts of child endangerment. This happened about 2 hours east of Cincinnati, and WLWT was at the news conference held by the sheriff and the Ohio Attorney General after court. Investigators say they were at the Siders' home on an unrelated investigation when they then discovered 16 children living in what they described as deplorable conditions. The children, ranging in age from 1 to 18 years old, they were all removed from the home, with several taken to the hospital. Investigators say that many of those children were kept inside a single 12 by 12-foot room, and some had developmental delays so severe they were unable to talk. You know, all 4 suspects were issued a $300,000 bond each. Each one of those charges carries up to 12 years in prison if convicted.
So they've got 17 counts of child abuse. Each one of those counts is 12 years. They're convicted on each one of these counts. They're looking at a long time in prison. They're not coming out. So tell me what y'all think about this story. One of the things that's interesting to me is that they had all of these children. Were they taking these children to the doctor? Were any of these children being seen by the doctor? Because they talked about children being developmentally delayed. So I am curious that this investigation may expand outward. Did these children have social workers? Were these children being treated at the hospital or by a medical doctor? When was the last time these children were seen by a medical doctor? There's going to be a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered by the state of Ohio, because this is 17 kids, and you have a 1.5-year-old all the way up to an 18-year-old. I'm unsure if all of these kids belong. If this woman had 16 or 17 kids, do all the kids belong to the parents, or are some of these kids belonging to the grandparents, or some of these kids belonging to different other family members? There are just a lot more questions that need to be answered, but these people were arrested and they're currently being charged with 17 counts of child abuse. Let me know how y'all are feeling about this case, because this is awful, and there's going to be a lot of questions again that are going to have to be answered by the state. Because if you've got children that are that severely developmentally delayed, no one was looking for those children, particularly medical health professionals. No one were looking for those children. Was social services called to investigate? Were these people, obviously these weren't people that moved from place to place to place, because they said that the way that room was, it looked like it had been like that for at least years. Y'all let me know. All right, people, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, America says they care about the children, but our actions don't show that we caring about the children.